I'm trying to find out. Okay, Maggie, you can mute.
Hello?
Yes, Maggie, you can mute your microphone.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
Teacher, we can start.
Okay, yeah, I think we can start now. But Mr. Bernard, I think we have only one student here, but it's okay, we can start with him as we wait for others.
Yeah, this class is live on YouTube and everywhere, learners will find it.
Okay, it is okay. So as I've told you that we are going to be looking at Napoleon Bonaparte, that is topic 2 after the French Revolution. We are now looking at Napoleon Bonaparte. What we should notice that this paper is somehow chronological. One event leads you to the other. So one must have understood the French Revolution very well in order for you to connect it to Napoleon Bonaparte. We know the French Revolution contributed to the rise of Napoleon Bonaparte to power. And of course, as we look at the causes of the French Revolution, there is also that factor of the role played by the French Revolution. Now, that image you see there is an image of Napoleon Bonaparte. And you can see Napoleon Bonaparte, 1799 to 1815. He wasn't born in 1799. We are looking at the time that he took ruling France, but he was born in 1769. So that is the image of Napoleon Bonaparte. And that's how he looked like. So, of course, Napoleon, as I've told you, was born in 1769 at Ajaccio on the island of Corsica in the Republic of Genoa in present-day Italy. Okay, we can, Mr. Bernard, we scroll. Yes, so as you can see, this is our introduction here. We are saying that this man was born at Ajaccio, as I've already told you, on the island of Corsica in the Republic of Genoa on the 15th of August, 1769, okay? This man, what we should note is that he was born a year after the island on which he was born had been taken by the French. So this means this man was born a Frenchman. The island Corsica was taken in 1768 by the French. So however much he was born in Corsica, which was an Italian island, of course it was taken by the French, and therefore he was born a Frenchman. And that is why he ruled the French from 1799 to 1815. So if I'm to read this other information here, it says that this was 1 year after France had taken the island of Corsica away from Genoa, which was formerly part of Italy. So we are saying that this meant that Napoleon Bonaparte was born a Frenchman and was therefore entitled to all benefits that are accrued to the Frenchmen. He was a son of a proud but poor family that held the title of nobility from the Republic of Genoa in Italy. Yes, Napoleon, of course, his family held the title nobility, that is in Italy, but of course they were poor. They were poor, and of course this actually so much made Napoleon to work hard to see that he succeeds in life. The family background, okay, forced him or made him work hard to make sure that he succeeds in life. And if we are to continue here, in 1779, Napoleon entered an a military academy of Brienne in France. And then 5 years later, he entered the military academy at Paris. And he acquired military skills and came out as an artillery officer and joined the French Revolution of 1789. And therefore, the outbreak of the foreign war against France gave Napoleon a chance to rise to power rapidly. So we are saying in the military academies of Brienne and Paris, this man acquired military skills. And for sure, at the age of 16, Napoleon was already an artillery officer. At the age of 16, he was already an artillery officer. So he got all these skills from the military academies of Brienne and then Paris. Now, for your information, the military academies of Brienne and Paris were academies meant for the sons of the nobles and the clergy in France. But Napoleon somehow forged his way into these military academies. And of course, he graduated as an artillery officer. He was a military genius and he did a lot. That is why at the age of only 30, this man was already the leader of France in 1799. So briefly, that is what we can give about the background of Napoleon Bonaparte. This is what we need to note. So from there, of course, we are moving over to factors that led to the rise of Napoleon Bonaparte in power, to power in France, okay? As I've already told you at the beginning, that this paper is somehow chronological. One event leads you to the other. Therefore, you don't have to miss an event, because when you miss an event, it will be a little bit hard for you to grasp the other events. So here, of course, we are beginning with the occurrence of the French Revolution of 1789. So for your information, the French Revolution so much worked towards Napoleon's rise to power. Otherwise, one would say without it, Napoleon would have died a common man. Okay, without the French Revolution, there is a saying that Napoleon would have died a common man. Therefore, we are saying the French Revolution so much worked towards Napoleon's rise to power. So as you can see, here we are saying the progress of the French Revolution and the subsequent wars fought against the neighboring countries by the revolutionary government of France gave Napoleon Bonaparte the opportunity to show his ability as a capable military officer. This in turn gave him chance for quick promotion from one rank to the other, as he successfully accomplished tasks given to him by the revolutionary government. Now, what you should notice that the revolutionary government had three governments, like they changed, they took over power in 1789, but they kept on changing, they kept on amending their governments. For example, they started with the National Convention government, and then they had actually it was the National Assembly government, then succeeded by the National Convention government, and then lastly, the Directory government. Now, Napoleon worked as a soldier in these revolutionary governments. He was not yet the leader, but he worked as a soldier in these revolutionary governments. In 1795, there was a group of royalists that had attacked the government, and then Napoleon suppressed this group of royalists. And the suppression of this group of royalists was even given a name, the whiff of grape shot. So all these ones were chances that Napoleon exploited to rise to power. Remember, I've told you, Napoleon was being given different tasks, which tasks he accomplished very well, and that is the reason why the Directory government kept on promoting him. So the Directory government also sent Napoleon to Italy in what we know as the Italian campaign, and that was 1796. He was sent to Italy not to fight the Italians. No, he was sent to Italy to fight the Austrians out of Italy, and then he makes the Italians free. So he went to Italy, he fought the Austrians, defeated the Austrians, and made them sign the Treaty of Campo Formio. Okay, so that means Napoleon was also successful in the Italian campaign. So the Directory government also made Napoleon a leader. Actually, they gave him a task of again going to Egypt to fight the British in Egypt. And I'm telling you, he also fought the British in Egypt, first defeated them at Alexandria. But of course, as he was continuing with this fight to Malta, then the British reorganized themselves and defeated his forces he had left at Alexandria. But of course, to the French, again, that was a victory, because at least he had defeated the French in the initial stages at Alexandria. Now, so that is an explanation of how the French Revolution gave chances to Napoleon, which he exploited very well. Now, here we are saying that the French Revolution, of course, contributed to Napoleon's rise to power in different ways. So there is this first bullet, okay? It shows how the French Revolution contributed to Napoleon's rise to power. Now, the first bullet goes, the French Revolution overthrew Louis XVI and the ancient regime, hence bringing the Bourbon rule to an end in France, okay? The overthrow of Louis XVI and the Bourbon regime created a political vacuum that was to be filled by Napoleon Bonaparte. So that first bullet actually tells us that the French Revolution created a political vacuum, okay? Created a political vacuum, how the generals who were ruling France at the time had gone out of France as emigres, okay? They were exiled. Most of them decided to run out of France. Most of them went to Austria and then Prussia. So there was a political vacuum. Which political vacuum could be or was... or someone is, I can see someone saying, why is this video disabled? I don't think it is disabled.
Do you want to put on your video? Why should you put on the video?
There is a student actually who said this video is disabled. So I don't know whether there was a video. So I don't know what the student is actually talking about. Anyway. So there is that first bullet you've seen there. So we are saying the French Revolution created a political vacuum, okay? And which political vacuum was filled by Napoleon Bonaparte. So that is one way, okay, how the French Revolution contributed to Napoleon's rise to power. Then bullet 2. The revolution abolished the hated social classes and the privileges that had been promoted by the regime, okay? The revolution opened chances to peasants. The idea of equality and promotion for all was enhanced by the revolution, which helped a common man like Napoleon to rise to power. Now, I believe most of you have been told that in France was organized according to societies. They had according to classes, sorry about that, according to classes. There was the first class, also known as the first estate, the second class, also known as the second estate, and the third class, also known as the third estate. Now, the first class and the second class enjoyed almost all the privileges at the expense of the third class. So, the French Revolution abolished these social classes, meaning that the French Revolution opened a chance to the peasants to also take up positions in France. Now, this means the leadership role only went to the first and second classes. Now, people like Napoleon wouldn't have had a chance of leading France if classes still prevailed in France. So the moment the revolution abolished the hated classes, now there was a chance for peasants like Napoleon to also take up leadership positions. So that is bullet 2, and which shows us how the French Revolution contributed to Napoleon's rise to power. Then bullet 3, the revolution also brought the idea of career open to talent, under which any person of ability or talent would earn promotion irrespective of their social status and origin. Napoleon was a man of rare abilities and talent, which he used to rise to power in 1799. So now, bullet 3 tells us that the revolution, brought in the idea of career open to talent. The idea of career open to talent, under which any person of ability would earn promotion irrespective of their social status. So here we are saying that Napoleon, of course, who was a peasant, coming from a very poor family, wouldn't have had any chance to take up leadership positions in France. But the revolution came in with the career open to talent. Whoever had a talent could be promoted, and Napoleon had a talent. Napoleon was a very good orator. I'm telling you, he was a very good orator. Just the words he was using could actually win so many people to his side. I will tell you that in 1796, Napoleon was given an army to go to Italy. As a good orator, he talked to these soldiers. He told them, look, you are badly fed, nearly naked. The government owes you much but pays you nothing. I am going to lead you into the fertile plains of the world, from where you will reap honor and glory. That was Napoleon. And all the soldiers were like, yes, this is the man we are waiting for. So if it wasn't the French Revolution that came in with the career open to talent, Napoleon wouldn't have risen to that great position in France. So we have this other bullet. This is bullet number 4. The revolution also led to scarcity of artillery officers because of the death or running to, how we said, because of the death or running to exile of officers of noble origin during the revolution. Napoleon benefited from this scarcity by rising through military ranks, first as a brigadier and then to the rank of a general within a short period of time. His rise to such ranks in the army helped him to rise to power. Yes, now this point tells us that the French Revolution created scarcity of artillery officers. Scarcity of artillery officers, yes. Remember, I've already told you that at the age of 16, Napoleon was already an artillery officer at the age of 16. He was already an artillery officer. And yes, so many officers had gone out of France. Most of them, the moment the revolutionaries took over in 1789, most of the artillery officers decided to get out of France. And then there was a scarcity of these officers. And yet Napoleon was already an artillery officer at the age of 16. Therefore, because of this scarcity of officers, Napoleon could rise to different ranks in a very short period of time. In a normal way, it would have taken Napoleon 10 years to rise from the rank of brigadier to general. But it took him a very short period of time to become a general, and that is why in 1799, General Napoleon had already taken over power in France. There is this other bullet, which goes, the French Revolution also created the revolutionary wars and campaigns in which Napoleon participated as a commander. For example, he commanded the Italian and Egyptian campaigns in which Napoleon and the revolutionary army brought glory, exposed Napoleon's heroics and greatness as a soldier. Okay. Yes, we are saying the campaigns exposed Napoleon's heroics and greatness as a soldier. When he organized the coup in 1799, he was massively supported by the army and the population. The army and the population, hence his rise to power. Okay, so the point here is that the revolution, okay, the point is that the revolution came up with the campaigns, and in these campaigns, Napoleon participated as a commander. We have given an example of the Italian campaign. Okay, he commanded the Italian campaign. He was successful. He defeated the Austrians in Italy, and after defeating the Austrians in Italy, he made them sign the Treaty of Campo Formio, and therefore he was again a diplomat there by signing that treaty with the Austrians. He went to Egypt. Yes, he was defeated by the British, but in the initial stages, he tried to defeat the British at Port Alexandria. So the point is, the revolution came up with the campaigns, which campaigns Napoleon took over as a commander, and as a commander, he was successful. All this was actually winning him support from the masses. There is this other bullet here. There is this other bullet here, that the French Revolution created internal enemies, which led to a number of revolts against the governments of the time, such as the royalist insurrection against the convention, in brackets, whiff of grape shot, and the Babot plot, okay, or Babu plot against him, the Directory government. Napoleon was used by both governments to suppress both revolts, thereby displaying his military brilliance and leadership qualities. Now, there are people that hated the revolutionary government, okay? These people that hated the revolutionary government kept on attacking the different revolutionary governments. As I told you that we had 3 different revolutionary governments, okay? We had the National Assembly, the National Convention, and the Directory government, okay? All these were revolutionary governments. Now, these revolutionary governments could be attacked by the internal enemies. Now, there was what we call a royalist insurrection, okay? The royalists had attacked the National Convention government, and the National Convention government used Napoleon to fight these royalists. Napoleon suppressed the royalists, and this act was given a name, the whiff of grape shot, okay? Then there was also another rising of a man known as Francois or Francio Babot. Francio, okay, or Francois, it depends on who is pronouncing it. But this Francio Babot also rose up against the Directory government. Francio Babot was also defeated by Napoleon, who was given that task of fighting him. So all these ones were making Napoleon rise to power, because the moment he defeated these people, he was actually winning support from the different groups of people. Then we have this other bullet here. There's this other bullet here, that the revolution also came with ideas of liberty, equality, and fraternity, which needed to be defended at home in France and also exported to other countries of Europe. Okay. Napoleon exported these ideas through the revolutionary wars he fought, which earned him popularity. Okay. Now, before I explain that point, I don't know whether my students are following and what I have explained so far is clear to you. You can unmute and then tell me whether what we have looked at so far is clear. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes. I'm waiting for my students to tell me whether what we've gone through so far is clear. And if there is anything that is not clear, then you can tell me and on that. Yes. Someone there? Is everything okay?
Yes.
Everything is clear.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. If things are clear, then now I can explain this bullet here, which I've read to you, that the revolution came with ideas of liberty, equality, and the fraternity. Now, let us talk about these ideas of liberty, equality, and fraternity. Okay, we are saying that before there was no liberty, before there was no equality, before people could not work together, that is fraternity. Now, the moment the revolution came in and the revolutionaries took over power, they were like, people should be free, okay, liberty. Then there was also to be equality, okay. Now, fraternity, working together. Now, when Napoleon was working under the different revolutionary governments, he was sent to Italy, for example, in what I've already talked about as the Italian campaign. Okay. Now, in Italy, the moment he reached Italy, this is what he told them. He told them, people of Italy, the French Revolution comes to break your chains. Greet it with confidence, and your customs and culture will be respected. Then, okay, religion also. Now, this is what I wanted to tell you. The reason why I've brought that statement is to show you that in the different campaigns, Napoleon did not go there as an individual, as Napoleon. Napoleon could front the French Revolution. Even when he was in Italy, he told the Italians that it is the French Revolution that has come to break your chains. He told them to greet it with confidence, meaning that when he went to Italy, he had to spread the ideas of liberty, equality, and fraternity there. And this is what the masses outside France wanted. Okay. And by doing that, Napoleon was becoming more popular, both in France and outside France. Okay. So that was Napoleon and how he used the French Revolution to rise to that position of great importance. Then we have this other bullet here, that the French Revolution also led to the rise of weak governments, such as the Convention and the Directory, which were characterized by a lot of inefficiencies, which left the masses discontented, longing for a savior who came in the name of Napoleon. Yes, I can tell you, the National Convention government, of course, had weak leaders. The National Convention government, not that was led by majorly two bloodthirsty leaders, and that is Robespierre and Danton. Some others were also there, but majorly these are the people we look at: Robespierre and Danton. These were bloodthirsty leaders. They carried out mass killings. People were guillotined, Okay, people could be taken to the guillotine. I believe you people have heard of this machine, the guillotine. It is a machine that was used in France to cut off people's heads, okay, to behead people. So many people died during the time of the National Convention government under Robespierre, Danton, Marat, and so many others, okay? Then people were like, no, we cannot have this type of government that is killing people. All the time, people lived in uncertainty. People never knew what was to come next. So they lived in fear. And that is what we used to refer to as the reign of terror. Now, when you come to the directorial government had directors who were fighting for power. One director would like to be the first director, and at the end of the day, they messed up their government. So all of these were weak governments. So because they were weak governments, Napoleon exploited these weak governments to rise to a position of great importance. The directorial government by 1799 had messed up everything. That is why Napoleon came in and staged a successful coup d'etat at Brumaire. Okay, he was assisted by his brother, who was the president of the Council of 500, Lucien Bonaparte. So the thing is, the weak governments, revolutionary governments, created a chance for Napoleon's rise to power. There is this other point here, or bullet here, that there is this other point here, that the revolution also created a situation of insecurity, of fear, and they needed people to safeguard the revolutionary gains. Okay, Napoleon was seen as the right person to protect the revolutionary achievements, hence his rise to power. Now, this is what we are saying, that at the time which the National Convention government came in, brought in the reign of terror. There was mass killing of people, and the people were not sure of what was coming up tomorrow. Okay, so there was a fear that their property was insecure. There was a fear that they are dying anytime, and Napoleon was seen as a solution. Napoleon was seen as a person who was going to protect their rights, to protect their property, and all that. Therefore, the fear that was brought in by the different revolutionary governments also paved way for Napoleon's rise to power. Now, you've seen the different sub-points of the French Revolution. I've tried to break down the French Revolution, and I've had different sub-points of the French Revolution. Why do we do it this way? In A level, we choose a point and we make it a stem. And then we ask learners to break down that stem and show that it also find a question, like there is that question down there, that to what extent was the French Revolution of 1789, Napoleon Bonaparte
Teacher, not clear, like there is.
Yeah, there was an interruption, but we are now back. We are now back. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Now, I've been actually, and I've been looking at this question here, that to what extent was the French Revolution of 1789 responsible for the rise to power of Napoleon Bonaparte in France? And I've been telling you, I've been telling you, that in A level, we choose a point, we choose a factor, and then we ask you the extent to which this factor contributed to the occurrence of a given event. So here we've chosen, we've chosen a factor, and this is the French Revolution. And we are asking you the extent to which the French Revolution contributed to Napoleon's rise to power. Now, after looking at the extent to which the French Revolution contributed, then you have to go ahead and look at the other factors, You go ahead and look at the other factors after breaking down the French Revolution. Therefore, this question you see here is two-sided. It looks at the contribution of the French Revolution and then other factors, Now, we have already seen the extent to which the French Revolution contributed to Napoleon's rise to power. It is the bullets I've been explaining to you. Now, question 2 is also asking for the same thing, but it is phrased differently. You can see it begins with the quotes. Without the French Revolution of 1789, Napoleon would have died a common man. Discuss. This question here is also two-sided. This question wants a learner to look at the contribution of the French Revolution, and then you also go ahead and look at other factors. Meaning that this question here wants us to exhaust the French Revolution. Give us the different sub-points of the French Revolution. Show us how the French Revolution contributed to the rise to power of Napoleon Bonaparte. And then you go ahead and look at other factors. So the questions are phrased differently, but they are looking at the same answers. I believe people have got the questions very well. Before I look at point number 2, tell me whether the questions are okay with you. Are the questions okay with you? Yes?
So yes.
Are the questions okay with you?
A question.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry?
Okay, so like, it's to what extent? It's a question.
I would like to know whether the questions are okay with you.
To what extent? So like, if it's to what extent, if we are. Oh yes, sir, they are fine.
Yes. You are.
Teacher.
You are breaking.
Okay, to me what I wanted to. Okay, to me what I wanted to.
I've not heard your question very well.
Okay, what I'm trying to inquire.
Your network seems not to be.
Is that okay now?
Sorry, I've not heard your question.
What I was saying.
So like, what is max?
So like to this question number 1. No, you can go on.
Yes, something had happened, but I think we are now back. Someone was asking a question, which question I've not heard well. That person has been breaking. Now we have very few minutes to the end of this lesson. That's why I want to go into point number 2. So I don't know whether the other person who was asking is, I don't know whether your network is now stable. If your network is stable, you can ask again. Is your network stable now? You can ask again if your network is stable. If it is not, then we'll look at something else. Okay, if it is not stable, briefly, I can only explain to you point 2. We are not going to look at the sub-points. We are time bad. We may not look at the sub-points of point 2. We'll look at them next time. So here, point number 2, factor number 2 of Napoleon's rise to power is the weakness of the directory government, meaning that the directory government was weak. And because it was weak, it became unpopular. And that unpopularity was an advantage to Napoleon. And that's the reason why by 1799, Napoleon was already the leader of France. So I'm only reading this. The directory government rose to power after the reign of terror in October 1795. Okay. Okay. So our time is up. Our time is up. We will be picking up from here. We'll be picking up from here next time. Thank you very much for attending, and thank you so much for listening to Mr. Joseph Busula. So it has been Busula Joseph taking you through this. So we meet again next time.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
You are welcome.